Okay, so thank you everyone for attending our fourth virtual open evening of the year. It certainly won't be our last. We are hoping to bring people back into the college from September for some full open evenings. And if you are able to visit us for a one-to-one visit, we are open for one-to-one visits now as well. Like I say, thank you so much for joining us this evening. We're humbled that you've taken time out of your evening and probably missing dinner or having a late dinner to listen to us speak this evening about everything DLD has to offer. The evening will consist of various talks from our Principal Irfan, who will be talking about the college and the ethos, the culture and the ethos of the college. We have Charlotte, who is head of our student council, talking about the best things about the college. Mary Doe, our academic vice principal, will talk about our academics, as will Jessica Wilkinson, who is one of our student council. We have Tom, our pastoral vice principal, talking about everything pastoral and the support. Followed by James, who is our vice principal for boarding, and he will talk about everything boarding. And then Jung Woo will also give us a bit of a tour around one of the rooms in the boarding house, so you can have a good look as well. And that will be followed by a Q&A, and we will see the event out with a virtual tour of the college with some commentary. So once again, thank you for joining this evening. My name is Ben, and I will be hosting the Q&A later, and I'm also the head of admissions here at DLD. But without further ado, it gives me great pleasure to pass over to our principal, Mr. Irfan Latif.
Thank you very much, Ben, and good afternoon and welcome to all of you to our virtual open evening here at DLD College London. Eid Mubarak to all of you who are celebrating as well. I hope you have a safe and wonderful time with your families. Thank you for joining us today, especially on this day. And you'll hear, as Ben said, from a number of colleagues speaking passionately about our award-winning school. A huge thanks to Ben, our head of admissions, and to Rachel, our marketing and communications manager, who has put this all together. My thanks to them, and my thanks to everybody who has given up their evening tonight to talk to you about our school. These are challenging times, but like the virus, we've mutated into something stronger. Our powerful ethos and our core values of tolerance, respect, and kindness have strengthened our community during this unprecedented time in our history. A family looking out for one another and caring for each other. That's what makes our school so special. Those strong and powerful relationships that we nurture and foster here makes for a happy, supportive, and friendly environment. I'm so privileged to be the principal of this innovative and caring school. As the Good Schools Guide recently said, DLD is a friendly, relaxed place with excellent pastoral care, attentive teaching, and high aspirations for all. A wide range of qualifications and high quality on-site boarding facilities make DLD stand out from the competition. If your son or daughter comes to DLD, they can expect high quality teaching and learning for our exceptionally bright and committed staff. Excellent pastoral care, a range of co-curricular activities to nourish the mind, the body and soul, and a compelling ethos of well-being, which is at the heart of our school, where your son or daughter is at the center of everything we do here. Our sector-leading work in well-being was nominated for the prestigious Independent School of the Year Award in 2020. And we were also shortlisted for the TESS, Times Educational Supplement Boarding School of the Year 2020. In October of last year, we were awarded the Special Judges Award for Independent School of the Year, and we won Boarding School of the Year 2020. And in December 2020, we were awarded the Mental Health in Boarding Gold Award by the Carnegie School of Education, our sector-leading work in boarding. We're the only school in the UK to have won this award. Last month, we were the finalist in, again, the TESS Independent School Awards for mental health and well-being. And this month, we were awarded the prestigious Boarding Schools Association Awards for mental health and well-being. It's been a truly outstanding year of recognition for our school. And I'm very proud of the DLD community, our students, our staff, our governors, our parents. Now, these awards are testament to the achievements of our hardworking staff and our students. And it firmly establishes DLD College London as a leading independent day and boarding school in the UK. And to have won these much coveted accolades during this challenging time for us all speaks volumes about our staff, about our students, about our community. And it's our staff that are the key ingredient in what makes DLD so special. So much so, we've been awarded the London Healthy Workplace Charter for our work on staff wellbeing. We've come a long way in a short space of time, and we look to continue to be caring, but innovative, and lead the way in teaching and learning, well-being, and boarding. Our results are outstanding too, and Maridel will talk to you about that. Over 75% of our A-level students achieved A star to B. 96% passed the IFP, the International Foundation Programme, and 100% success rate in the BTEC. And 95% of our GCSE students achieved grades 9 to 4. These are truly remarkable results achieved by our truly remarkable students. It's an exciting time for the college, and it's exciting time for you to join us here at DLD. And I only hope that your sons, your daughters, seize the various opportunities that are on offer here, from music, sport, art, drama, D&V, so that they're ready to face the challenges that lie beyond our front door. As we look to continue to grow DLD and become an outstanding school with all the exciting innovations from our Wellbeing Centre to our award-winning urban boarding philosophy, I want us to remember the three pioneers who established DLD back in 1931 and who the college is named after, Messrs. Davis, Lang and Dick. And as we celebrate our 90th anniversary this year, it's important we respect and continue their powerful legacy and long-standing reputation into the future, as they now become part of our new 21st century vision: development, leadership, and diversity. And I want you to be a part of that compelling vision. I look forward to welcoming your sons and daughters to DLD either this September or next September, where I hope that we will be able to develop them to become the next generation of leaders, to take their place in a challenging and diverse world. Thank you. I hope you enjoy the evening. I'd like to pass you on now to Charlotte, our head of school. Charlotte.
Hello everyone, I'm Charlotte. I am currently a boarder at DLD. I've been here for the past 2 years. I'm an Alpha Scholar and I'm studying history, business and psychology at A-levels right now. I've been asked to speak about some of my favourite things at DLD, and after 2 years I feel like I'm definitely qualified to discuss 100, but my top 3, my first one is the cohort. As I can see from the participants today that there are lots of people from different areas around the world. And that really is the core focus of DLD. I sit next to people in class who are from Russia and from the United States. And when we come together, it's a really great place for education and learning. We get to speak in the classroom about business, about how different business is done over the world, and in psychology, how different theorists are taken into account from one place to another. It's a great place to come down to the global kitchen and eat lunch with everybody and hear about how their daily lives are different to ours. And then we come to London, a hub of excitement, and we go out and explore London as new people. Is very exciting. My second favorite thing at DLD is the opportunities. I mentioned them briefly. Some of the opportunities that I've been able to have and experience through DLD have been, I'm doing my Gold Duke of Edinburgh right now. I've been head girl for the past 2 years. I've been able to get involved in charity and volunteering, as well as become an Alpha Scholar and academic societies. These are really important, and DLD is a very driven school. So we're very focused on UCAS. We know that our next steps are either university or apprenticeships, and we want to get as much as possible that show you as the best person you can be. And we do that through these societies and all the opportunities that we are given. Now, I can't mention my final thing without showing you the view from my bedroom. My favorite thing is the location. Can I flip my camera around? Yes. The view from DLD really shows what a unique place it is and how coming together can really create great opportunities for DLD students to learn and get together. And it means we can explore from inside the classroom, but also go outside the classroom, and we'll get a sense of the world through our learning. Next, I'm going to pass on to Marido. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlotte. And yes, indeed, London is our classroom. And I would like to share my screen with you so that I can show you what we do at DLD. So I think that what is important is to recognize that DLD is a school which offers not only the A-levels, but the GCSEs, as well as the A-levels and the BTEC and IFP. So it's the full range of qualifications to prepare students to go to university. And really, this is very important. I think that what is so special about DLD is we take a more holistic approach. So of course, we want to develop the student. We want them to have the ability to think for themselves, but we also want them to become happy, fully developed, confident individuals. So in our programs, we've got a sort of a small selection of GCSEs, but enough of up to 9 GCSEs if students are spending 2 years with us. And this can lead to the A-levels. As Irfan mentioned, we have excellent results. And I think this is to do with the fact that we've got first-class teachers. I mean, a lot of them are examiners, come from top universities, and really know their subjects inside out. I think that it's also because they know how to make their subject exciting. And we have, as we see, a lot of success because we also offer a very broad range of subjects. Similarly, with the BTEC and the IFP, we've been extremely successful. What is good about the BTEC is that you don't take exams at the end of the year. You do assessment on a regular basis and you add up all your credits. When you are on the IFP program, which is for the International Foundation program, you can choose 2 main areas where you're going to spend all your studies, as well as a variety of things like sort of preparing for a research project and developing your personal statement for your UCAS application, and think about how you can present yourself for the next stage. In the IFP, you've got 2 exam sessions. You've got the first one in January and then the final one in May, with 1 option for the retake in June. Now, in BTEC, we only offer the business or the creative digital media production, but those can be either equal to 1 or 3 A-levels. 3 A-levels, obviously, over 2 years. Now, this is to give you an idea of where the students end up to at university. I think this is really the best way of assessing how good we are, because we cater for a very broad range of students and they want to do lots of different things. And I think that speaks for itself. So the other thing which is really special about DLD is that it's all about you. We will interview you to sort of make sure that we know exactly what you want to do, and we will be able to support you to and decide what you want to do later on. We will track very closely what you do, how you progress, and that's possible because we've got small groups, but also because we have a lot of opportunities to meet the students, to check how they understand and to agree with them targets so that they can know how to progress for the next stage. So there is a mixture of quizzes as well as milestone tests. But obviously for that, we need to also offer a lot of support to our students, And this is because teachers are specialists in their subject. They know exactly how to support the students. There's also the tutor who is like the champion for each student to be able to supervise the progress of the students. And I think Tom will talk about that later on. We also have a learning support team who is here to support everybody, not just people who may feel that, you know, they need to be seen more regularly, but for anybody who would want to have some help with their study skills, their organizations, and so on. And we obviously have the housemasters, housemistresses who are going to be following the overall development of the program of the students. And obviously, preparing students for the next stage at universities requires a very detailed and well thought out program, UCAS program, which starts in year 12. So this is ongoing. Every week there is something different from the second term to make sure that students are properly prepared for their application. But I think that what we want to emphasize with DLD is that when we talk about opportunities, we talk about also learning opportunities. So all students will be offered the possibility to do an EPQ, which is an extended project qualification, which offers the possibility to students to show what they're really interested in. And I think that's quite a big plus, because universities like this very much, and it gives you UCAS points. We also have a stretch and challenge program where we really be pushing students who are ready for it and want to be able to explore a bit further, because really what we want is open your mind to what is to come next and prepare you for the new challenges. So we have educational visits, and this term we have a full program which is going to be really exciting, enabling students to discover other things and explore what skills they have as well. So I did mention the holistic approach, and I think it's very important to focus on the fact that what a DLD student will have is confidence, resilience, and also ambitions for themselves, because we expect a lot from them. So I shall now pass on to Jessica, who will be able to sort of tell you a little bit more about the academic side. Jessica, over to you.
Hi, I'm Jessica. I'm head girl here at DLD, and I'm a member of the academic team. So I'm going to speak a little bit about the academic side of DLD and hopefully encourage you all to take the next steps to joining our family. So DLD tries to create unique learning opportunities, which means academics is at the core of everything we do, both inside and outside of the classroom. And what really sets DLD apart is its ability to identify and understand that no two students are the same. I'm personally dyslexic, and it was really important for me to find an environment that would adapt to my own learning style. And I can say with confidence that DLD really has. And also they allow us to be expressive and explore things that we're passionate about through academic societies, seminars, and also just discussions that are fostered in PT time. I'm also a member of Alpha Scholars, which has truly been one of the most challenging but also enjoyable experiences of my life, because it's allowed me to learn about the rest of the world and look outside of my 4 A-level subjects. And I think this is so important because I feel like absolutely DLD will provide the academic side and allow you to get amazing grades. But what it also does is create all-rounded students that can go into university and succeed, achieve and succeed. So I really hope that you take the next step into joining our family, and that I've inspired you to join DLD, because I can guarantee you won't regret it, because it is truly an amazing learning environment. Thank you. So I'm going to pass on to Tom.
Thank you very much, Jess, and I hope everyone's impressed with the smoothness of how this is all going so far. I hope I haven't throwing a spanner in the works there. But yeah, my name is Tom Hadcroft. I'm the Senior Vice Principal and oversee the pastoral side of the school. And I'm just going to talk to you very briefly about some of the things that we do, obviously from the pastoral side, and hopefully give you some ideas of some of those people and processes that plug into that. So I'll just share my screen with you just to go through those things. So there we go. Okay, so let me just get the pastoral piece. So in terms of the pastoral, number of different things, which are, let's go back, there we go, which are really at the heart and the center of everything that we're doing. Irfan talks about well-being being a foundation stone. We really see it as a kind of cornerstone for all the great things that Mary Doe was talking about earlier with the academic. If we can get the right kind of systems, the right people to support the students, then they'll obviously succeed, and that's really what we're looking for. In terms of the kind of things that Jess was talking about as well, in terms of family feel, we've got, again, it's a really great feel within the college, and I think again the connections, the relationships within the college between the students and the staff is one of our really binding things which makes it so special. So just going through this kind of list of people, if you look at that structure there, you've obviously got the student in the center in the blue. Just spinning off that into the kind of yellow, the orange. First of all, every single student has a tutor that they see once a day. And that's the person, as Mary Doe was saying, is that champion, that person who really will get to know your son or daughter and really kind of make sure that the tracking is going on about how they're getting on, what kind of progress are they making. We then also have these HMs, the housemasters, house mistresses. They can be overseeing a group of tutors, but they're also there to have a look and really be visible leaders in the school, get a sense of what the students are doing, not only inside the classroom but outside, and looking at their co-curricular activities, which Petra is going to talk to you about in a little while. In the team in the red are really our kind of well-being, I suppose, team, and we've got school counsellor with the team of counsellors that work with her, the nurse, head of wellbeing, and also head of learning support, which we now call the head of neurodiversity, really celebrating the differences between individuals. And they're school coach as well. So coaching is really at the heart of what we're trying to do and to try and encourage within the college. And that sense of empowerment that coaching gives is something that we really feel is very, very special about what we do. We also have a team of student services focusing on attendance and obviously the really mechanics of the students' time at the college. And then in the green, very much our boarding team, the huddle house parent that James is going to be focusing on in a little while, and the accommodation officer who oversees all the independent students and those in host families. And then in the blue, very, very key, and I very purposefully leave this to the very end, the student council, who you're hearing from right now, some of the very exceptional individuals who are the students here, and also our student mentors. And I think, we've done very, very well over the past few years about student voice, and actually the student be at the center of so many decisions here. But the student mentor is a great example of a program that we've really done in a bespoke way within the college, where we train our student mentors in very relevant and very kind of very topical kind of areas, such as active listening, counselling, English as a second language, and how to support people in those kind of situations. But ultimately, also the mental health first aid qualification that they can take away with them into university and workplaces, and really get an understanding of how to support people, in a wider sense. So those are the people and the kind of structures. We have a wonderful wellbeing centre which opened in 2018, and as Irfan said, we've been very lucky to be acknowledged in many different awards over the past 12 months particularly, and the team that we have around the wellbeing centre is really central to, again, all of these underlying strengths of the college. And then just to go through some of our tools that we've used, you may or may not have heard of AS tracking, which is right there in the top middle. AS tracking is a pastoral, very kind of similar to a psychometric testing that we use from a pastoral sense to track whether our students are making progress in their own way, are they developing as individuals. And we really use that as a really starting point to help us with some of the acknowledgement, some of the recognition of where they are generally. We also have lots of things around kind of pastoral kind of training, papyrus, and the assist qualifications, which many of the staff have. Graydon is a coaching company that we work with, and they've been doing tremendous work with the staff over the past few years to really help understand, how coaching can be embedded, not only in pastoral, but academic, in lessons, and really empowering the students. Then we have the mental health first aid qualification. I'm privileged to be a mental health first aid youth instructor. So that's very, very key for us as a college. And we're training all our staff up in the mental health first aid qualification. And pioneering, we're again, first school in the whole country to have worked with the sleep charity. And we're looking at sleep very, very closely. We do seminars on this. We create sleep diaries. And very, very important in terms of performance. Again, sleep is part of that, diet, exercise, all of those things. And from next year, very much looking at character education and building all these things into that. That is a very fast tour around some of the things that we do in the pastoral, but it's been hopefully a pleasure to give that sense of, give you a bit of better sense from the pastoral side. But I'm going to stop talking now, and I'm going to hand over to Patricia, who's going to talk to you about the co-curricular activities and the support. So over to you, Patricia.
Thank you, Tom. Hi, everyone. My name is Patricia, and I joined DLD in September last year. Right now, I'm year 12, and I study for A-levels. I study economics, business, film, and English literature. And today, I'm going to walk you through some of the co-curricular activities we have here in DLD. So we have a really wide range of co-curricular activities, and there are almost 30 CCAs here at DLD that you can join, and all of them, they offer different opportunities that can suit all your different interests. And as every student, first year student, when I came to DLD, I started off and I took on a lot of different co-curricular activities, which I all enjoy. And some of them, I want to share my personal experience with you. I joined boxing, I joined music, band practice, and news, DLD. We have DLD News, we have media societies, we have quite a lot of clubs, and they're all separated in different areas because we have creative arts, we have performing arts, a lot of clubs and societies, and they are all different. So we have clubs like debating, we have certificate in financial studies that you can take that certificate when you finish your financial studies society at the end of the year. We have chess. We have the Bigger Picture Society, MUN, a lot of different clubs that you can join, and they're all very diverse and vibrant. You meet new people, you talk to new people, you have the opportunity to talk to more teachers, get to know more interests. It's just really an amazing experience. We have a wide range of CCAs, as I said. We have recording studio, music, singing, playing any instrument that you would like to play or master your skills. We have the DLD News and Media Society, which is a CCA as well, which developed recently. And if you have any interest in, doing some filming or standing in front of the camera and talking to people, then that's definitely your thing. We have a lot of sports. We have netball, football, boxing, which I joined as well, and I really loved it. We have CrossFit for people who love to go to the fitness, and yoga. And the wide range of activities is just an amazing opportunity that gives you this sense of finding your real talent and finding who you are. And that's why I love DLD, because it gave me all those opportunities. It still does. And I found myself, and I can't wait to see you all and meet you. Thank you. And now I'm going to pass over to James.
Thank you, Patricia. And a classic example of a student who's really thrown themselves into everything that's on offer. And please do obviously ask more questions if you have any questions about other things we may have on offer as well. But for now, we're going to go on to the boarding side of things, and I'll share a screen with you quickly. Give me a second. So we will be looking at what does boarding at DLD look like, and in terms of our sort of focus, the kindness, tolerance and respect. Any of you that have been here before or those that are coming on the tour, you will see those words around the building. They very much are our values, both as a college, but also within the boarding. We've got award-winning experience, pastoral care. There's a focus on well-being, support, leadership opportunities for our students, but also, and we'll move on to it shortly, the first-class facilities in a world-class location. So for our students who are sitting watching this here, obviously you're going to be in DLD, and obviously in that time you're going to be thinking, where am I based? Charlotte has shown you the view already in terms of what you can look out the window, but also it's outside in the central of London. You can go along the Thames, you can actually walk across the bridge to Big Ben, you can see all these different things, and it will actually enable you to really get used to what's going on around you. Just going to quickly share a different screen, bear with me a second. And we will then be able to look at the opportunities to see what you could do over a weekend. So if we take what we do during the actual activity side of things, there's plenty of things on offer within the building, but as you can probably imagine, actually what's going on outside of the building is also really important for young people today. In terms of that side of things, we have obviously a system of security for students to make sure that they are actually not looking to be unsafe. Obviously, a number of people say to us, and I think it's one of the questions coming up, will be, how do you make sure students are safe within this environment? It's very straightforward. We have a system in place where when you start at the college, the mentor system is used to help induct students so they know their surroundings. They have to check in, check out by house parents, and they will make sure that they know where, well, we will make sure we know where they are and what they are planning on doing. And there's regular check-ins. So if you have been a younger age student in boarding, you'll have more regular check-ins. If you're an older student, your check-ins will be slightly more spread out, but you still need to get in touch with us. In terms of what does it look like to be a boarder at DLD, we want to make sure that people have leadership opportunities. We want to make sure that people are able to see where they can be as well as where they are. So in terms of that, the student council, obviously 4 of them are on here, the boarding committee, the food committee, which Petty has been on, the huddle leadership team, the mentoring opportunities, and for next year, house captains. There's a real opportunity to develop skills. People will come with different skill sets, but they'll leave with very much a new set of skills too, and actually learning to take on their peers and actually help develop themselves and those around them is something we're really keen for them to do. In terms of around them, the community involvement is very much something important to us. Some of you may have seen the DLD NHS posters, but on a more sort of local level, we've got the food banks, or we've got the book project that we have, where we've donated books. We have a book club in boarding, and people nominated books we put forwards and donated those to our local area. The pastoral care the staff offer is first rate. We know that because that's what the students say to us. We also know that because that's what we've won awards for. So in terms of the quotes you can see down the left-hand side, these are from our current students. The idea that our staff are supportive, that they are generous with their time, that they feel they really are a home from home. And that's what we want. As Jess said earlier, it's about a family experience. In terms of that support, it could come from staff, it could come from peers. Our wellbeing centre, the house master mistress, tutor, Tom's spoken about already. The house parents, assistant house parents, a boarding team dedicated to boarding. These guys are actually very much focused on that. So they're not in the classroom, they're focused all day long looking after the students. On the right-hand side, the support from the peers, again, the student council, the boarding mentors, the heads of huddle, deputy heads of huddle, another opportunity for leadership. These guys will get trained up in mental health first aid and some coaching side of things, so they can be really proactive in what they do. We also lead a series of wellbeing workshops. As you can see from the screen, there are a range of different things on offer. We really encourage all of our students to look at which workshops are on and to put themselves out of their comfort zone, because whilst they might think they know everything they need to know, some of these things will be a bit of a surprise to them. And so, as you can see from the screen, that range of things there means they've got something to do. Finally, before I move on to June, the trips and activities we have, London really is our classroom, but it's also our playground. So in terms of the life of a London-based boarding school, we're really fortunate. We can have the big places, but we can also jump onto public transport and get slightly out into the sort of greener areas. And we've got a range of trips all organised for post-half term, which I know a number of the boarders on here will be jumping onto. That's it for myself. I'm now going to pass on to June, who's one of our current boarders. So over to you, June.
Hello, my name is June and I am currently studying A-levels, which is politics, history and sociology. And I will be introducing you about how the room looks like and my personal experience about living in this boarding community. First of all, I was quite worried before I entered this community about like living in a foreign boys' school, but as soon as I came to this community and just got settled in, it was quite amazing. Like this whole facility and all of my friends from different cultural backgrounds, all of those experiences gave me a superb experience to develop myself. And most of the boarding aspects, James explained it to you in a really detailed way. So I want to focus on how the room looks like. And yeah, let me just change my camera. So I'm currently doing this thing on the 3rd floor of our boarding house. And if your students enter the room for the first time, they will see, most of the students will see this kind of room. It is quite empty, but your students will able to express their creativity by decorating the rooms, like maybe putting some paintings like this. And unlike other British boarding schools, they have, and we have, an ensuite shower room inside the room. And oh, my friend, he told me that the bed is so comfortable that he doesn't want to get out of the bed every morning. So yeah, the bed is superb, and we have a bulletin board where we can put stuff like documents or pictures, where you can express your creativity. And we have some storage areas like this. And beneath the bed, we have a wardrobe, and most of the room will look like this. And we have a desk here, and this is the window. And the outside is our college's wellbeing garden, where students can go out and breathe in some fresh air inside the boarding community. And yeah, I think that's all from me, showing you around how the room looks like. And yeah, I think that's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, June. There might have been a little bit, it might have been a bit shaky on that last video, but please don't worry, because you'll see some more images of the rooms in the virtual tour at the end of the session. So thank you to everyone for presenting this evening, particularly to our Student Council. And now it's time to bring everyone back and put them on the spot. So I have some pre-event questions, but it's also your opportunity to ask anyone any questions this evening as well. So as I mentioned, we have the Q&A and the chat function below. Please feel free to type any question you wish. I will guide our panelists on who should answer those questions. And yeah, like I say, put a few people on the spot there as well. I'm going to start with a pre-event question. And this is actually from someone who is confirmed for September, and a really student-focused question. So I'm going to put it to Charlotte. Charlotte, what is the dress code, including your hair?
Ooh, and my hair. Okay, my hair. I wouldn't say your hair gets dress coded ever. I have a friend right now who has it dyed all blue, and it changes every single week. Yeah, DLD is like a really good place to express yourself. It's mainly, you know, dress appropriate. You're allowed to show up to hoodies and sweatpants. to class, but you're also allowed to dress up, you know, in suits and things, whatever you feel most confident in and what you feel you'll best learn in. We also don't wear slippers. If you're in the boarding house, you can't wear slippers up to class, but you're not really restricted in that sense. You just have to make sure that it's appropriate, make sure that you feel good in it, and your hair wise, I tend to leave mine down, but I know some people braid it and things. Hopefully that's answered your question. And also with piercings as well, I don't know if you have any, there aren't any restrictions on those as well, because DLD wants you to feel most confident. So when you're learning, you have no worries about what you're wearing and things like that.
Thanks, Charlotte. I just wish I had hair. Sorry.
Yes, so thank you very much, Charlotte and Irfan, for that. Okay, great. So there's been a couple of questions, live questions as well. So do you arrange transportation from the airport to school for international students? James, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, no problem at all. So when you are signing up, you'll have the option. So for some people, for example, their parents may come over to the UK with them if they're coming from abroad, spend a bit of time together and then bring them to college. For others, they may come over by themselves, and we can absolutely organise that. Alyssa, who is our accommodation officer, will be happy to organise that side of things and make sure that you are safely turning up, ready to start your first day.
Great, thank you very much, James. Jessica, do all year groups mix, and do boarders and day students mix, or is there separate breaks and separate lunches?
Yeah, no, when I said that we're one big family, I truly meant it. There is mixing amongst everyone, and we speak to whoever, no matter what year they're in, whether they're boarders or day students. And I think also from next year with the house system, it will also allow for some great conversation amongst years and some competitiveness as well.
Thank you, Jessica. And that leads into a question that Sarah has typed, which is, what is the percentage of boarders versus day pupils? I'll take that one, Sarah. So we have 302 students on roll at the moment. 169 in total are boarders, and the remainder are day students. So it's about a 60-40 split overall. So a really nice mix of both day and boarders. And as Jess said, students really do mix. There is no kind of separation there. Okay, great. Mary Doe. Is this the right college for me to study the above subjects because I want to study law? So this is a student who would like to do business studies, history, English lang, and English lit. So what would you advise to study law?
Yes, I mean, there are two ways that you can end up doing law. One is to do a degree in law, which is particularly relevant if you are interested in changing law and moving on and looking at the history. But what will make you a lawyer in the UK is the two-year professional exams you get. And so you could, for instance, start with a degree, a first degree in whatever subject you feel very happy with. Like, for instance, if for you, you want to do history, that's a very good way to start. And then you transfer to the bar or the solicitor's professional exams, which are for 2 years. And then you can move on to being a lawyer. What is very sort of the attitude nowadays is for you to sort of have a niche. So for instance, if you were to do your first degree in business, you might want then to specialize as a lawyer, as a commercial lawyer or employment lawyer or whatever. So it's either way.
Great, thank you very much. Tom, do you have good provision for dyslexic students?
Yeah, so we, as I kind of touched on in the presentation, we have a brand new, in fact, head of neurodiversity, and she is a dyslexic specialist. And we've got a tremendous learning support team. You know, her and Sarah, who's her kind of also in the same team, the SEN team. Yeah, so they're obviously there to provide the support for students, but you know, in terms of obviously lessons. All teachers are aware of you know, the different SEN requirements, so obviously the students in the classroom, and they're there to tailor obviously and support their students where they can as well.
Great, thank you very much. Irfan, what is your advice on how to choose a proper school?
Great question. I think the most important thing is go and visit the school. Go and visit the school, speak to the teachers, speak to the students. You'll get a sense of what a school feels like as soon as you get through the front doors. And once you've had a look around and you've sampled some lessons, had a look in some lessons and spoken to various colleagues, I would hope that DLD still remains on your list of schools when you discuss around the dinner table with your family about what schools that you should apply to. But as Ben said, we are now open for one-to-one visitation. So please do come along. We still have all the COVID measures in place, wearing a mask and washing your hands, etc. And I'm very proud to say that we've been very, very fortunate in how our DLD community has responded to the pandemic. So we are very safe and secure. So please don't worry about that. But no, do please come and visit the school. I think that's the best way. Yes, I've been very impressed with how colleagues have been able to deliver our high quality learning online. And I know many schools have done that during the course of the pandemic. But Ben and his team have worked really, really hard to produce these webinars and to give you a sense and a flavour of what the school is like. But you're not going to get the full picture unless you come in and really taste what the school has to offer. And talking of taste, the Global Kitchen today, the Eid menu was incredible. So, you know, we're really, really spoilt here when it comes to food and things like that. And I know, having run boarding schools in the past for nearly 20 years, you know, food is always the issue. But here, you know, we haven't had any issues with food. So do please come along, book an appointment with Ben and come and meet us.
Thank you very much. I've got another question for Jessica. How big are the class sizes, and is there a seating plan in a class? I've combined two questions there for that one.
So there's no seating plan. And as for the class size, the classes are really small. Most of my classes on average are less than 8 people in the class. And I think that's great because you're able to ask as many questions as you like and the teachers really get to know you.
Excellent, thank you. This may be one for Mary Doe. If I want to go to a US university after A-levels, can I?
Yes, indeed. And we provide support for the application, which is slightly different from the ones when you apply to the British universities. But there's no problem at all. We have had students going to America, some with scholarships, so not a problem. We will sort of sort things out with you.
Great, thank you. Petra, are there any educational trips for certain subjects?
Yes, we do educational trips for certain subjects. However, right now, because of the COVID season and COVID-19, we weren't able to do so in this year. However, we're hoping that next year everything will come back to normal and we'll be able to go to different trips and visit universities. We talked to our teachers about that. They ask us which ones we would like to visit, what we are most interested in, and we work together, we consult with each other, and then, yes, we do a lot of educational trips.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, one for you, Junwoo, or June. Do you do any revision classes, and do you find it hard to revise alone if you revise alone? Is June still here? Yes.
Yeah, I'm still here, Ben.
Great.
About the revision, to be honest, I think it really depends on the subject and your dedication to the subjects. I think, like, the teachers, they give you a superb teaching about the subject, and if you just follow your teacher's guidelines and if you just try hard during the class time, I think you won't have like such a difficulty when you're doing your revision alone. And yeah, I'm trying my best too, so I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, another question. There's so many questions coming through, so thank you very much for this. This is a question again for Mary Doe. DLD is not a selective school, so how do you succeed to work in a mixed ability classes? Do you split students according to ability?
Not in most subjects. We do this for math in GCSE, but not for other subjects. The first thing to understand is that we are pushing individuals. So you're not competing necessarily against everybody else, you're competing against yourself. And because of the small groups, the teachers are able to really differentiate very well. Making sure that everybody is challenged. So you would have students who will maybe work a little bit faster, might be given sort of extra exercises to consider. The point is that the lesson has to be challenging and engaging for everybody. So I think that mixability can be very valuable for students who can then see what their peers are able to do and want to learn as well. And it's not just about learning from the teacher, it's learning from your peers and learning by yourself as well. So I think it's usually a very beneficial thing.
Great, thank you. And James, this is the type of question that comes up quite regularly, and this is from, I guess, it's concerned parents really, which is quite understandable. So London is a big city, children can get lost in a big city. How do we manage that?
Sure. So it starts with the induction process and just giving people a sense of their surroundings. And also it depends on their age. So if they're what we call the lower school, they will be going through that in small groups. So they can't go out by themselves, for example. They have tighter deadlines, curfews, restrictions. We need to know where they are, where they're going. If they're going, for example, to stay with a guardian for the weekend, we'd normally get the guardian to come pick them up. So that actually there's that sort of security place too. If there's going to be things like huddle trips, so Jan, who's the house parent for the lower school, will organise that sort of things and take them, for example, to the bank, so they can go on a small group rather than actually going by themselves. As you get older, as you can see from the guys in the room, they can speak better than I can. They're able to navigate themselves around a bit more, but they will still go out most of the time in a small group, maybe 2, 3, or if we're organising something social. The other day, Petra went out for someone's birthday meal with 4 of them, and they will stay together. They're constantly in touch. As you can probably imagine, if you're a parent on the call, your child is never without their phone, and so they will always have that with them there. We can get in touch with them through either things like calling, WhatsApp, WeChat, all manage different things to make sure we can keep in touch.
Great, thank you, James. And following on for that, another one for you. What protocols do you take for international students who get hospitalised?
Yeah, I mean, so it depends on where the parents are. If the international students are here by themselves and their parents are at home, the house parent will basically take over what we call loco parentis and be responsible for them in the same way the parent would. So we would take them to hospital and stay with them as a parent would do if they were over here with us. It really is, to take Jess's analogy of family, the parents, the house parents are called that for a reason. They really are parenting as they go. So they would just look after them. Obviously be in touch with the parents as soon as possible, keep them in the loop. For many, obviously they're going to just want to know what's going on, and hopefully it's not serious enough to need anything more than maybe a bit of emergency care, but we would sort that out and get the child back to health.
Thank you very much, James. Okay, Petra, you're studying film studies, am I right?
Yes.
Okay, so we've got this pre-event question, and someone would like to learn a bit more about the film studies syllabus. So would you be able to tell us a bit more?
Yeah, sure. So the film studies is an amazing subject, and if you're interested in making films in the future and working in the film industry, then that's definitely a thing. We first of all start with basic knowledge on film, what film form is, the different forms of cinematography, aesthetics, editing, sound, and you'll get to know all the basics and core elements of film before you get into watching films and analyzing them. So that's about 2 months into the school year, and in around October, you'll start watching your first film, which you will do in class with your teacher. You'll watch the film, and then you'll start analyzing the film with the help of your teacher. And of course, in the beginning, it might be somehow difficult, you might find yourself struggling with some of the terms and remembering what you should write about, but then it gets really, really interesting and you just get into the subject, it just get into the flow and you start understanding everything in a very different perspective. And I can assure you that after you study film in DLD, when you watch a film on your own, you won't stop yourself from stopping the film and trying to analyze the mise-en-scène or the sound or anything like that, which will be a really good skill, I think, and in the future it will help you. But yeah, that's about the syllabus, and I'm sure that if you're interested in film, you should definitely do it in DLD. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Petra. Tom, how many, it's obviously very different this year, but how many visiting days for parents do we have each term?
That's a good question for you, Ben, I think. So in terms of, yeah, the visiting time, I mean, you know, we are very much open. I think, you know, throughout the year. Obviously, the days around Christmas and New Year, not necessarily are those days that would be open, but, you know, we encourage people to come in because it's, you know, getting a sense of this place as you walk around and you get a flavor of it, obviously, from these kind of webinars, but we absolutely encourage people to come in and actually smell the food, talk to the people. You know, you want to experience what it is to be a DLD student. And I think, you know, we encourage everybody to come in whenever they can.
And does that include current students as well and their parents once they're here living in the boarding?
Maybe that's a good one for James. Yeah.
Yes, I think in terms of things like exeats, we don't have exeats in the more traditional boarding sense. Obviously, you have the half-term, Christmas, Easter holidays. But obviously, often what happens is parents will come over. They might be visiting London. They're welcome to take their child with them for the weekend or to go out for dinner and that sort of thing. So it's absolutely a case when we can normally have visitors. Please do come in and see your son or your daughter. But yeah, we don't have an exeat per se.
Thanks, James. Irfan, will we be offering any online lessons from September onwards? You're on mute, Irfan. Sorry, Irfan, you're on mute at the moment.
It had to happen, and it was me. I'm sorry, everyone. Yes, you know, as we've been doing this term and last term, we've had some students who haven't been able to return because of restrictions, etc. But as restrictions now are being eased and international flights hopefully will become part and parcel again this summer, we're hoping to make sure that everybody is face-to-face teaching come September. That is the aim, and we're looking to do that come September. It's important that face-to-face teaching is good. Yes, in terms of what we've achieved from an online perspective has been incredible, and I've been really impressed with the students and staff in what they've been able to accomplish during this lockdown, but nothing replaces face-to-face teaching. And I wish I was there with you now in a hall or in a room talking to you about the benefits of being at DLD. And so, yes, come September, the aim is to have full face-to-face teaching.
Great, thank you very much. Mary-Do, there's a couple of questions here which I'm going to combine. One student has asked about studying medicine. They didn't study chemistry in year 11 and 12. Would you recommend them doing their A-levels again? And also, what are the requirements for the IFP medicine?
Right, first of all, to be able to study medicine and not having done chemistry at A-level, I would say yes, definitely, you have to do the A-level. Biology and chemistry are a must, and usually sort of math or something like psychology would be very would be good. If you haven't done the normal type of things, when you go to IFP to do medicine, you would have been expected to have done some science before. It's important because basically what you're doing with the IFP program, you're condensing 2 years of A-level in one. So it's quite intensive and quite demanding. The requirements for IFP medicine are obviously quite stringent because it is a program which is going to lead to offers to medical schools, whether in the UK or abroad. So it's quite important to have the right background. We usually say to have some kind of level 3 experience, at least of 1 year in a science. So for instance, if you've done the equivalent of an AST year, then that should be okay. What you don't want is to be sort of climbing a mountain with a lot of things to study, but certainly it depends also how quickly you learn and how fast a learner you are. Maybe some people can manage to actually digest quite quickly an awful lot of data, but I'm very happy to liaise with that students to be able to check what they've done, because, you know, if you've got a very high grade inner knowledge in science, but not the first year of level 3, we can discuss what would be best. Okay.
Thank you very much, Marida. And that kind of fits in line with the interview process, doesn't it? Because we appreciate that not every student is what you see on paper in terms of school reports is not always completely black and white. So part of the interview process is to really understand a bit more about the students and find out more about what's suitable for them. So thank you very much for that. Okay, so so many questions. It's great. So what time does the school day start and finish? I think it might be best to talk about what time the school day will start and finish next year, because it's a slight change. Tom, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, sure do. So in terms of the start of the day for students from next year, it'll be 8:45 in the morning and for registration period, and then it will finish. The academic day finishes at 4, and then the activities, whether that's co-curricular activities, there might be assemblies and things like that. It might be that there might be, you know, some kind of help sessions, some kind of catch-up sessions, clinics, etc., with academic subjects. Those will go on between 4 and 5. So the whole school day, in essence, finishes at 5 o'clock. But yeah, the academic side, the academic lessons finish at 4.
Thanks, Tom, and that's answered Matthew's question as well. So that's great. Irfan, as a lover of lunch and the global kitchen, can you leave for lunch and then come back?
I know, I'm on mute. Why would you want to leave for lunch? Why would you want to leave for lunch? You know, we've got the award-winning global kitchen here. You know, you come and have your palate really tested from foods from all around the world. So, you know, we have our street food section, we have our main course section, we have a massive salad bar as well. And this is all being curated by our chefs and our nutritionist as well, Amanda Ursel, so that you know, we can give the best possible start and fuel our students so that they can perform well both in and outside the classroom. But if you do want to leave and go out for lunch, by all means you can do, but you have to tap in and tap out so that we know exactly where you are. And of course, you need to be coming back in for lessons as well. So yes, you can, but I wouldn't advise it.
Thank you. I thought you might say that, Irfan. Okay, there's a question around scholarships here, so I'm going to take this one. Do we have a scholarship program? We do, yes. The scholarship program for 2021 is closed now, but for 2022 we will be offering scholarships, and there is also the option for bursaries as well. The process is very much that if you're applying for a scholarship, you will choose 1 or 2 subjects of your choice. I would recommend you choose ones you're particularly good at. We will sit you a paper, a 1-hour paper that used to be face-to-face. Now it can be remote or face-to-face. And then once you've completed that paper, the relevant teacher will mark that paper, and we will set a scholarship percentage based on that. For the bursary applications, again, closed for this year, but will reopen again next year. We do offer bursaries. And it requires filling out a form with some details around your earnings, etc. And then it's assessed by our finance manager here. So very, very simple processes here. What I would say is, if you want to benefit from a bursary or a scholarship, then we do have a budget that we can we can aim towards. So it's advisable to get in early for that, and that really goes in. That goes for all applications. The earlier you get in, the more likely you are to get the courses that you wish to study and to benefit from all of from everything else that we offer here as well. Okay, so next question. Again, one for Mary Doe. Will you advise a child as to whether 2, 3 or 4 A levels is the right amount for them?
Okay, so that's also part of the interview process. Universities will make an offer to students on 3 A levels. We tend to advise students to start choosing 4 because very often students are going to choose new subjects and they don't quite understand what it's going to be like studying that subject. So if you've got 4 subjects and realize that one of them is not the ideal one, you can drop it and you've still got the 3 subjects that you want to carry through to the end of your A levels. What I would say is most important is to choose 3 subjects that you really enjoy and then add an EPQ, the extended project qualification, which would be able to show what you're really interested in. So I think if, for instance, I've got somebody who may have had a sort of a different educational background because maybe they've been ill for a long time, it might be better for them just to have 2 A levels. And the grades, it's better to have higher grades than it is to have lots of different A levels. So by focusing on maybe 2 subjects, for instance, if that person is looking for an art sort of progression, that may not be a problem. If you are looking for a Russell group, we have had students in the past who got offers from Russell Group universities with just 2 A levels, but there was a particular reason why the students hadn't been following a normal program. So I would say 3 is quite, it's quite good. At the EPQ, you really definitely sort of putting your application and your development on a high level. 4, only if you are really good and you would get top grades on the 4 of that, yeah, why not?
Thank you. And just to follow on from that, because there's a couple more questions around A levels. Can you still do A levels if you're 19 but turning 20 in the beginning of September? And again, another question around law, psychology, sociology and politics.
Right, so I'll tackle first the law. Politics, definitely, yes, very good. Because you will sort of learn about arguments and how to argue. I think it's like history. Those are the sort of traditional subjects that people tend to do. But as I was saying before, what you need is to think if there is an area where you would like to specialize in, and you could do a first degree there. When it comes to the other part of the question was about, sorry, remind me, I've sort of...
age, so a student's going to be 20
yeah.
in September.
Okay, so if the person comes from a non-British, has a non-British passport, it may be worth considering an IFP because that clearly they would have done a bit of studies before, which might be the ideal thing. A levels, yes, we would consider everything on a case-by-case basis. I would say that I definitely would want my students to leave college at the latest by the time they're 21, because they want to sort of move on to university at that stage, or the work market possibly. So individual cases would be reviewed as to why this would be required. Yeah.
Thank you. Charlotte, for your lessons, have you had to buy any books at all for your lessons, or is all of the educational resources supplied to you?
So all of the education resources are supplied to you. So I joined psychology this year and I was given all the books. And another positive thing that's come out of COVID is that now all the books we get are physical copies as well as online copies. So now when you go home, back to Ukraine, for example, I had friends that their whole suitcase was full of books, but now all they need is their laptops so they can look online and do all their research online using the books as well. So no, you don't need to buy anything extra, just a notepad and your pencil case.
Thank you very much. Great. And then it's actually another question for you, Mary-Do. We're coming towards the end now, but another question for you on the academic side. So I only took 7 subjects in IGCSE. Am I not eligible to apply for those that require 9 A's in GCSE? How can you help with that?
Why would you need 9 A's at GCSE? 7 GCSEs is pretty good. Usually the minimum to be able to move from one school to another is a minimum of 5. So 7 is actually okay. This may not be what some highly educational or academic schools want when they want to be very selective and they only want students who have done a lot of GCSEs. I don't think that universities will focus on the number of GCSEs because with students at DLD College, we always have a very good sort of presentation of their application to universities, and nobody has ever been disadvantaged because of the number of GCSEs. I'm sorry, I'm sort of always putting it in terms of what's going to happen next, because I think we are the vital element to enable the students to go to university. And the reason why students would want to go to the sixth form and develop their academic CV is to be able to move on. And therefore, we have a very good practice in introducing the students with what is very specific to them. And we are not like traditional schools where the students have been there for 7 years and therefore everybody from this school would expect you to be looking exactly the same. The beauty at DLD is that you could be with a very different profile and yet get your offers from the top universities.
Thanks, Mary-Do. And just to lead on from that, because we've had a few questions around subjects we offer outside of our core subject. So if a student wanted to come and do languages or music, is that something that we can facilitate?
We can offer those subjects on demand. So obviously we need to discuss what subjects they actually want to do and for what reason. We, as an international college, we obviously would encourage our international students to be able to develop their languages. It can be particularly useful for students when it is one of their 3 main subjects. If it's an extra, we can discuss how we organize that. But it might be an extra, but as I said, it's always possible.
Great, thank you. And then, so we are running out of time now, but there's a question that came in right at the start, but I've saved it for the end because I think it's the best question that's been asked this evening. And this is for the students. So if we could welcome all of the students back onto the panel. And the question is, what do you like most about the school? And if there is something you could change, what would it be? So should we start with Jessica?
So one of the main things I love about DLD is how diverse it is. You've got so many different people here, different backgrounds, different experiences, and I think that contributes to the learning experience as well. And as for what I would change, well, I'm a flexi boarder, so I'd like to spend more time here.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Jess. June?
I'm really satisfied with all of the aspects of this college, so I can't think of anything to change, to be honest. I like all parts.
Good answer. Excellent. Thank you very much, Jean. Petya?
What I most like about DLD is the culture of DLD and the culture of helping each other, supporting each other. The support I get from the DLD community and the fact that I never feel alone when I'm in boarding, when I'm in school, whether I'm anywhere around the school, I would never feel lonely and alone, and I would always feel supported by my peers, by my teachers, by the house parents, by every single person in the school. And that is what I most like about DLD. As to what I would change, as June said, I haven't thought about changing anything, and I think I don't have an answer to this question because I don't know. I don't think there's anything to change.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And then lastly to Charlotte, please.
I will start off with what I'd like to change. If you're a house parent of mine, or even James, you know this. Please, can the registration be later than 11 on the weekends? I need my beauty sleep, preferably 11:30. It's the extra 30 minutes that really make it. That's the only thing I would change. But my favorite thing at DLD is the peer groups and friendships that you make. Jess mentioned it earlier, and it's been kind of reiterated and implied throughout the presentation, is that we all come together as a community. I felt this year when I was younger in GCSE, and now I'm older in A-levels, that I'm still friends with the same people, but I continue to make friendships that I feel will last when we go into university, when we go into work, and later on in life. Especially now, because we're an international network, we know how to communicate and connect with each other, and it's those lifelong friendships that you make at DLD, which is one of my favorite parts. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Charlotte. Okay, so that concludes the evening. I hope you've all really enjoyed the evening this evening, and I hope your questions have been answered. If there's anything that hasn't been answered, please, once I send out the follow-up email to you all, please do send me any questions you may have, and we'll make sure that everything gets answered. But we'd like to leave you with a short video which gives you a bit of a tour and a bit of a commentary about the college. So I'll try and keep it as smooth as it has been, Tom. And so bear with me, and it should be going now. Thank you very much, everyone.
Not only their time during the lessons, but additional support during their free time over a variety of academic societies and after-school activities. There are also PCs and IMACs available to you throughout the college. If you join DLD, you'll be assigned a personal tutor who has the role of mentor throughout your academic journey, and along with our UCAS officer, will advise, guide and assist you to make the right choices, whether you have an ambition to start work, or as is the case for many of our students, to attend an Oxbridge or Russell Group University. Students at DLD learn in a variety of ways, using a wide range of resources accessible in our library. We welcome students from age 14, and there are a number of academic options available to you, depending on where you are in your academic journey. If you are joining us at GCSE level, we have both a 1-year intensive option, as well as the more traditional 2-year GCSE programme. Both options focus on core subjects and have been selected to properly equip students for progression onto A-levels. We offer over 20 subjects at A-level, and as you can see, the college is well resourced to give students the best possible environment to thrive in those chosen subjects. We have a very strong art faculty, offering art and design, photography and graphic communication. We have other wonderful subjects available too, such as film studies, media studies, drama and theatre studies, classical civilization, sociology and psychology. The options do not stop there. We also pride ourselves on students' achievements in maths, sciences, humanities, business and economics. If you're not sure if an A-levels are for you, or you feel you better perform through coursework or more practical assignments, you could consider one of our BTEC courses in business or media production, which also provides you with a wealth of university opportunities. If you are one of our international students, you could also consider an International Foundation programme as an alternative to A-levels. This is a one-year intensive course with a clear pathway to university. You have 8 pathway options at DLD: art and design, fashion management, business and economics, maths and economics, social sciences, computer science and maths, engineering, or medicine. Achievement and success at DLD is not limited to your course alone. We have a vast array of co-curricular activities available to you. Co-curricular options include a variety of sports, the Debating Society, Film Society, Chess Club, the DLD College Band, DLD Productions, where you can make use of our state-of-the-art recording studio, Drama Club, making use of our 70-seater theatre and green screen, as well as a number of academic societies which allow you to enhance your knowledge and understanding of your chosen subjects. At DLD College, pastoral care is one of our key strengths, where we were judged excellent for personal development in our most recent ISI inspection. We have our very own Wellbeing Centre, which is home to our Head of Wellbeing, College Counsellor and College Nurse, and all staff are dedicated to building those strong relationships with all students. A student who feels supported and happy will be ready to face the world beyond DLD. DLD College has its very own multi-surface pitch and wellbeing garden, where you can play team sports with friends, relax, read a book or study. We have our very own global kitchen, offering a variety of delicious, well-balanced, healthy meals for breakfast and 3-course lunches and dinners, catering for all tastes and dietary requirements. Our head chef is also happy to take recipe suggestions, so do share if you'd like anything added to the menu. If this isn't enough, you could treat yourself to a panini or pastry with your hot drink at the Grumpy Mule coffee shop, taking a well-earned break from your studies. Directly above the college, you will find your home away from home in our award-winning urban boarding. All single rooms come equipped with your own desk, over and under bed storage, and a deep spacious wardrobe, as well as your very own ensuite shower room and toilet. If you are looking for a little more space, or you would like to guarantee a view of Westminster, you could opt for one of our premier rooms. Twin rooms options are also available for those students who wish to share a room with a close friend. On all floors of the boarding, you will find a shared lounge and kitchen known as a huddle, ensuring you're able to balance having that privacy you need, as well as socialising with your friends. Security and safety is paramount for our boarders, so when you join, you'll be assigned a house parent who will assist you with anything you need, but also make sure you're having fun during your free time. Situated in the heart of London, one of the world's great multicultural capital cities of the world, where culture, art, business and opportunity is on your doorstep. Come join us, grow, thrive and succeed at DLD College London. Welcome to our award-winning college, DLD College London.
Thank you again, everybody, and have a wonderful evening. Take care.